The first 4 across the line automatically qualifying, the next 2 fastest on time. So 10 entries is what they're looking for the final. And there is Anas Asai of South Carolina, second fastest in collegiate history. He comes in. Also looking at Isaac Baston, the junior from Drake, who has run 3:54.89. And Laura, you were sharing with me just before we got on the air. 97 athletes broke 4 minutes this year at the collegiate ranks, and you had to run 3:56 point just to get here to Albuquerque.
An indication of just how strong the distance field is at this NCAA championship event. Nearly 100 athletes have either broken 4 minutes or clocked a sub 4 minute equivalent. That is just astounding. You are getting the best of the best in this field at the collegiate championships. And you mentioned Anas Asai, second fastest in collegiate history. He's already an Olympian for Morocco. He also represented his country at the World Championships, but he has struggled in NCAA qualifying. Last year outdoors, got tripped up on the rail and aggravated a hamstring injury. I was asking South Carolina head coach Curtis Fry about that, and he said that outdoors, Anas was so focused on trying to get that qualifying mark that he needed. He was frustrated by that events weren't going as fast as they needed to. That was in the back of his mind, trying to chase the standard the entire time. So his confidence has really grown through the NCAA process. Now these championship races are so much more tactical rather than fast. We saw it at the SEC championships where he was the back-to-back mile champion there. So he comes in great form to the NCAA mile championship race. But, all right, you got a slew of Washington guys around him. And then we also noted Isaac Baston of Drake. No one has had a knack more recently of making the finals than he has. He made all 3 major finals last year: NCAA indoors, NCAA outdoors, and the USATF outdoor championship. So he's kind of an expert, if you will, in qualifying. But look at the pack you have there of UW in contention.
66.5 for the first 400, so they're out there jogging, sort of, which makes the race for the 800-meter runners. UCLA's Ronan McMahon-Staggs has been setting the pace, if you will, the pace. Asai right there on his right shoulder. There are 3 of the 6 Washington athletes in this first heat: Nathan Green, Luke Hauser, and Aaron All. Again, the first 4 across the finish line will be automatically qualified to tomorrow's final. Then the next 2 fastest on time over the 2 heats. So it really behooves you to get in position to be in the first 4.
Saw a big burst of speed right there, and you noted Nathan Green. He has hip 1 as you're seeing that pack start to move up. This is how they ran that NCAA 1500 final last year outdoors, and Green has run sub 4 3 different times this season. And last year at the outdoor meet, he got up there in a pack of his teammates and yelled, "Dogs run better in a pack." And so many of the other guys were so caught off guard. They're like, what is going on with this guy? But teammate Joe Waskom said that was exactly what they needed to fire those guys up so they would be able to play off of each other, and doing that very well up front with 2 in the top 3.
3:14 at the 1200-meter mark, or the 3/4 mile mark. So they are really, really having to ramp it up now. Again, at altitude, no matter how much energy you're saving for your kick, you still get depleted a lot more than you do at sea level. Washington with all three of them in the top 4 right now. Asai of South Carolina, the only one to break up that group, but here comes Baston from the back.
Hauser doing a great job there up front, setting the tone, looking to pull everyone else with him. But Asai is in fantastic position, just cruising there on the shoulder. Here comes Nathan Green with a big charge, and you're seeing a response as well.
Aaron All is being dropped, so it looks like 2 Huskies will make it through. It's going to be Green and Hauser for Washington, Asai, and then Baston, the automatics. And it was an awfully slow heat, so time qualifiers are unlikely to come from this first semifinal.
In talking with Washington coach Andy Powell, he said you take each guy individually, you find the best way to qualify. They didn't have a carbon copy race plan, but look how well executed it is there up front from both Hauser and Green. A great little closing kick there from Green to solidify his position.
So Washington's 2 of the 3, and the bubble becomes 4:10.64. a time run by Matthew Rizzo of Georgetown in that first semifinal heat, which is a big advantage for the people in the second heat as we look at the official results. Washington won 2, Baston for Drake, and then Asai, who really let off the gas in that last 25 meters he knew he was in. 8 athletes, actually 7. Appears as though we have a scratch. So just 7 athletes in this second semifinal heat. So 4 will automatically qualify, and they know that 4:10 is what they have to beat to be a time qualifier if they aren't in the first 4. But again, the wild card is the altitude.
Seeing Waskom settle in very conservatively. It was a breakout outdoor year for him in 2022. That's where he found his groove at the Pac-12 meet, doubled in the steeple and the 1500. And he said that training with the guys he had around him made him more confident in those type of situations. He is not afraid to take chances and make bold moves in races. You're seeing the tone set up front right now by Brian Fay of Washington. He is the experienced veteran of that group. He is a quadruplet. So Coach Powell said he has been a fighter his entire life, describes him as fiery, passionate, and definitely a character. They could have picked a bunch of events for Brian Fay to compete in. This is one that he specifically wanted to vie for because it did give their team the best chance at scoring points in terms of advancing. You see his teammate Aiden Ryan coming right there up front to give him a little help in the lead.
He was 60.2 for the first 400, a way different race from the first semifinal heat. Waskom of Washington is pulling up the rear there in 7th place. It was Isaiah Gibbons, the freshman from Colorado, the only runner in the field who actually trains at altitude and lives there. The rest of these athletes, none of them have that advantage, so it might be that they will suffer a bit more than the athletes who are from Northern Arizona, Colorado, BYU, etc. Coming up to the half-mile mark, and it slowed slightly, 2:01.65, so that was a 61 and change 400 meters. Waskom just biding his time there in the back, but staying in contact.
This is where you're going to try to see him make a bit of a move. Very conservative early, but knows he can't wait around too long to get up there and align with his teammates to help do some of the work and pull this pace along to get as many through as possible and give them the best chance at contending with Anas Asai of South Carolina.
Aiden Ryan of Washington currently in the lead. That's Connor Murphy of Virginia. They're in 2nd. And Waskom is now into 3rd with Brian Fay of Dublin, Ireland, the senior, in 4th. Owing a little trip up there, and Fay kind of looked like he got the back of his leg caught, but he's back in it. Didn't go down, but that's always a bit disconcerting, especially this late in the race as they come up to the 3/4 mile mark.
Those turns are so tight, and also with the fact of this altitude, you don't want to expend any additional energy than absolutely necessary. Seeing a little bit more contact. It's really close there in the back, so we're going to need to see a response from Brian Fay.
63-second lap there, or 3/4 mile there, 2 laps. Waskom in control. Ryan is there. And that is Nick Foster of Michigan, currently in 3rd. And Fay has dropped back a bit as a result of that contact. Coming up to the bell, Waskom looking strong.
Waskom not afraid to throw down a big closing kick when necessary. That's how he won that NCAA Outdoor Championship last year, and you're seeing him start to stretch things out and kick it up a notch.
Fay going in on the rail, and he not fouls, but he certainly disturbs his own teammate doing it. Aiden Ryan started to go backwards as a result of that. Waskom is going to get there. Fay is going to get there. Connor is there, and so is Foster. Those are your top 4, but Aiden Ryan paid the price of his teammate Brian Fay passing on the rail. A bit of a strange race. 4:02.68 the winning time, much faster than the first semifinal.
catching that finish just after you mentioned that tangle up that happened, and you can see Waskom just cruises into the finish, has plenty of real estate, glances around, even a smile. That's how relaxed he is going in, also knowing he's pulled at least one of his teammates along through that heat alone. Certainly tons of confidence for Andy Powell's group moving into finals on Saturday.
So the 2-time qualifiers come from this heat. So Washington, 6 entries, 4 finalists. They needed all 6 of them if they were going to really contend for the team title, but anything could happen. 4 Huskies out of the 10 in the final. That's about the percentage that they had coming in here. But you got to remember, Anas Asai, the 2nd fastest time in collegiate history, that's going to play into tomorrow's final.